Get them through it.
This meeting of the Board of School Commissioners of Mobile County will come to order at this time. We have a group of scouts who are with us this evening. Is that Troop 292, is that correct? Okay. And we've asked them if they would lead us in the pledge, and then immediately after the pledge, I would ask that Dr. Crenshaw lead us in the prayer. Would you stand, please?
Scout salute. Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Two, you may be seated.
Let us pray. Oh, gracious Heavenly Father, we come and give you thanks, Lord, for allowing us to see another day. Lord, we ask a special blessing of all the children of Mobile County, all the faculty, staff, and administrators in this school system. Lord, we ask a special blessing of all of the school children throughout this nation. Put a loving spirit in their heart. We ask that you bless these proceedings and make sure that they are pleasing to thee. These things we ask in your daughter in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
It's my understanding that as part of what is required of the scouts is to come to meetings of various governmental groups and observe the meetings of the governmental groups. And we want to thank them for Troop 292 for being here tonight. How many, would y'all stand up so we can recognize you, the rest of you in the group? Thank you so much. We appreciate you being here. Okay, approval of the minutes. Do I hear a motion for the minutes?
So moved. Second.
Been moved and properly seconded for approval of the minutes of the previous meetings. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Do I hear a motion for the agenda adoption?
So moved.
It's been moved and properly seconded to adopt the agenda as is. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Announcements. Let's begin at this end down here.
No, sir, no announcements.
No announcement.
No, sir.
I do have one. Ms. Peak, I wanted to let you know that I saw at the Zay Trail Run Saturday, Mr. Gatewood, our security person was there, saw numerous teachers and principals and a lot of student volunteers, so it was really good to see so many people in our system that were supporting it like that. And I want to let Mr. Thread know I did not challenge your time at all, sir, so don't worry about that.
We had a lot of students and staff that ran in the Azalea Trail Run. When you guys want to challenge, we'll set up a race and
No.
I'll time, okay?
Well, if I have a motorcycle, maybe. That would be fair.
Okay, Mr. Battles does have one.
I just want to make one announcement. On Saturday morning, I was privileged to be invited to the opening of the Publix in Midtown. Publix was one of my schools that was sold to to be open. I was really privileged for them to invite me, but more importantly, though, while I was invited, I made it impress upon the management and the people at Publix too that I wanted them to adopt John L. LaFleur High School Law Program as part of the benefits so that we could have some significant input into the Tobinville and the Midtown community.
I was pleased on Saturday to attend the doubleheader between Mary Montgomery and Theodore, along with one of our other board members who represents the, Mr. Harwell, who represents the Mary Montgomery area, and two really good and close and hard-fought games, but excellent sportsmanship.
Was one of those kids a Hartwell kid?
Yeah. Okay, reports and recognitions.
No problem.
We have two speak tonight. First, I'd like to call forward Mr. Clem Richardson with Baker High School, Mr. Randy Campbell from Citronelle High School, and representing Dr. Amanda Jones from Mary B. Austin Elementary, we've got Ms. Gronowski and Ms. Pouillet. And also board members Dr. Foster, Mr. Harwell, and Dr. Crenshaw. Stand right there.
Hey, Clem.
Stay over there. The Council for Leaders in Alabama Schools selected 3 top schools from each of the state's 8 school board districts. Our district, District 1, includes all of the school systems in Mobile and Baldwin counties, as well as 5 other counties. I'm proud to report that all 3 of the schools selected from District 1 were Mobile County Public Schools. They are Baker High School, which was recognized as being home of the AP Capstone program, Citronelle High School, home of the Signature Academy of Advanced Manufacturing, and Mary B. Austin Elementary, named one of America's entrepreneurial schools. Each of those schools was recognized as Class Schools of Distinction at a luncheon near Montgomery earlier this month. And from those 3 schools, one was selected as the Class Banner School, and that is Mary B. Austin Elementary. We would like to congratulate all 3 schools for the hard work of the administrators, teachers, and students.
Representing the district in which Baker High School finds itself, I want to say to Mr. Richardson how much we appreciate the efforts of Baker High School, both as your board member and as the grandfather of one of your students. And I want to say that the school board, by its signatures here and that of Ms. Peak as well, is certainly proud of Baker High School for being selected as a Class School of Distinction. Congratulations.
Mr. Campbell, on behalf of school board, Ms. Peak, I want to congratulate Citronelle High School, and I would like our mayor, Citronelle's here, Ms. Peak, I'd like for Jason to come up, if you don't mind. Mr. Mayor Stringer, I'm sorry. Come up. And because a lot of things in Citronelle, y'all know it's a really tight community school, and they all work together. The mayor and his council and a lot of people up there make this happen. And just congratulations on Citronelle. Mr. Cameron, appreciate it. And Mr. Stringer, thank y'all. Mr. Campbell work is here, and his wife, I'd like to recognize her. She's here tonight.
On behalf of the Mobile County Public School System and the Superintendent, Ms. Martha Peak, recognition to Mary B. Austin Elementary School, Class School of Distinction. Ladies, we'd like to say congratulations, and we want to encourage you to keep up the hard work and continue to produce all those great scholars you have over there. Congratulations.
Squeeze in a little bit. All right. Smile. Thank you. And now I'm going to hand over the microphone to Dr. Randy Hoff with Synergistic.
Good evening. My name is Randy Hoff. I'm Dr. Randy Hoff. I'm Vice Chairman of Synergistic. We're proud to be your partner in energy conservation here at Mobile County Schools. And I'm here on behalf of the EPA to represent the EPA and their Energy Star program. We have 15 Energy Star certifications to give to Mobile County schools today. We're proud to do that. Schools that win the Energy Star Award are in the top 25% of energy efficient schools in the country. They track both energy efficiency as well as comfort. These buildings use less energy, are less expensive to operate, and create fewer greenhouse gas emissions. And this is a commitment, just a result of the district's commitment to energy savings, to energy efficiency. Just one example of the sustainability or the energy conservation impact. We reduced enough CO2 emissions here in the county to power over 22,000 cars for 1 year, or plant 2.7 million trees. So it's a significant amount of carbon dioxide reduction. This is a district-wide effort. It's a big success story, and it has 1,000 fathers and mothers. So I'd like to recognize just a few right now. First of all, I'd like to recognize the board. Thank you for your vision, for partnering, for leading the charge with energy conservation. Thank you to Superintendent Peak for her strong support of the program from day one and for setting the high bar. Thanks to Lori Zerlot being our boss, our day-to-day boss, and the CFO. Tommy Sheffield, Bobby Stringer in facilities and maintenance, David Ackridge and his team in the information side, Carol McQueen, Skip Walters at Walters Controls, the principals, the staff, the teachers. It's been a district-wide success effort. And I definitely want to thank the Energy Specialist team. The Energy Specialist team is here with me today, and they work this program every single day, changing habits, changing behavior, and changing culture in the district. So with that, we'd like to hand out the certificates to the 15 schools that were recognized today. So if I can ask the Energy Specialist team to come forward. I'll read off the school names, and if the associated leader of that school can come forward, we'll hand out the certificate. So the first winner is Alba Middle School in alphabetical order. And then Baker High School, Burroughs Elementary, Collier Elementary, Davis Elementary, Hankins Middle School, Indian Springs Elementary, Mobile County Training Middle School, Orchard Elementary, Robbins Elementary. We have a lot of winners today. Scarborough Middle, St. Elmo Elementary, Taylor White Elementary, Turner Elementary, and then Brazier Elementary also won. So we're really proud of all the winners, and appreciate you being here and accepting your awards for being in the top 25% of energy efficient schools in the country. So I think now we're going to take a quick picture. We need the wide lens here.
You resemble the boss.
As everybody sits down, along with reducing carbon dioxide and all of the other benefits, I asked Ms. Zerlot to provide me the current figures. So far with this program, Mobile County has netted a $14 million savings on electricity and the others, but primarily electricity. So it's been a good program. We've also done cost sharing with the schools, and we're very proud of the Energy Star Award, which is one that's coveted by business and industry and education. But the benefit of it is that that's $14 million that can help go back into the schools. So we're very proud of that. And our partnership with Synergistic has been successful.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Peak. All right, we have, at this point, we'll do citizens' requests. We have three citizens who will come before the board and speak, and we'd like to remind everybody that when this is done, too, that the good name and character of any individual should not be in any way defamed, and we want to keep our language on the church side tonight, if that's at all possible. And I want to thank the three people who signed up for having printed your name there, where it's always said, please print, and we'll get people who will write their names, and it's very difficult a lot of times to read one's signature. So thank you so much for printing your names this evening for me. The first one is Patrick Crabtree.
Good evening, board members. You will see my face more, and I'm going to tell you why. I am the past president of the Atlanta Association of Educators during the cheating scandal. I served on the board of directors for GAE and the National Board of Education. I was also the MPUS vice chair and education chair. I was on the Atlanta Planning Advisory Board, and I was also the education co-chair. I have returned to Mobile after retiring after 38 years, 13 of which I taught here in Mobile. One of my former colleagues is now a principal. She was here tonight. I am here to let you know I'm also the education co-chair for the NAACP. But what I'm coming up here to talk to you about is a commendation of what I saw going around to the schools, having been on the NEA board and serving and going around the 50 states to see quality schools. To come back to see a school system, I've already talked to Mrs. Peak about this, the opportunities that we have here in Mobile are exceptional. The schools of choice that are totally 100% public, where I've seen Atlanta, Memphis, and other cities inundated with crappy charter schools that do not help our children in any way, and they destroy our public school system. I commend you on this. I was so impressed going around to schools, I wrote the National Education Board of Directors, National Board of Education President Lily Eskelson Garcia to do an expose on our school system about what public school choice should look like, even with our problems. I'm going to be speaking to you on many things from now on because I am a community activist from that which you know. I have one request. I was in Dunbar. Great program, great principal. Teachers are happy, great things going at the school. But I looked at that school and I said, what is the first school any visitor to the city of Mobile would see? Our magnet school, and you look at the building, it is in deplorable shape. And I look at the other magnet schools, because I've been at all of them, great program. The facilities are gorgeous. If we're going to promote public schools, we need to make sure our school system looks like what it really is all about. I know it's not all about the building, but at least it should represent what we do have here. We have some great schools, because I hear some of the complaints here. I said, I wish you worked where some of these other people like me have worked, because teachers have so many more opportunities here of speaking out and having their voice heard and represented that I commend you on the board for doing. So I want to ask you that you look at our schools and make sure there's equity, and that let's show America what public schools can do. I'm not worried about test scores, because test scores don't measure what a kid can do. I taught at Glendale for 13 years. I can show you so many children that have done exceptional work. So with all this, I want to thank you, And Dr. Crenshaw, I would like to speak to you after the meeting, if you don't mind. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Crabtree. Okay, next we have Cassetta B. Jackson. Okay.
How many minutes we got? Good evening. How everyone doing?
All right.
How you doing, Sister P? We back again.
I'm fine, thank you.
Yes, Lord. Yes, so we're here concerning Mains Middle School. We know that $7 million was allocated for Mains Middle School. And we are not gonna sit back and let you all lump all our children into Williamson High School, which is a high school, and a middle school students along with the high school students. And you know what? These students say they don't have anything to work with. No music, no art, no nothing. Y'all just send them in there and lump them up. No, we're not gonna tolerate that. Now the time is for that to be stopped right now. And the parents need to stand up and not allow their children to go to school. Now, parents, I'm talking to you now. Keep them out. Because there's trouble gonna be there. So now is the time. We not gonna sit back and what this sign says is just what it says. The African American community will not allow Williamson High School to contain a middle school. We demand that Mains Middle School be built on Hertel Street. Now, you have money. See, this is the way the system has been over years, even in the city of Mobile, and now in the county. When they want to get rid of something, they will not put money into the place so the people can move, and you know, they transfer them everywhere. This has been going on the city, and even with the schools. Now, you know, y'all was talking about Airbus and all this here, trying to get Mains Middle School. But you know what? Y'all so interested on Airbus and all getting the children out of the school, not even looking at what it's doing to the communities. And you know what? God will move Airbus, and it won't be nothing. That's what y'all looking for. Because when you go over the hill, there's a totally different city over there. And then also, you all try not to put money into, you know, the city is doing the same thing you all are doing. You know, you don't put money into the community, and then the people start moving all the way to Mississippi. I mean, and you know what? Many years ago, there was a lady by the name of Dot Moore. Y'all know who I'm talking about. She said, you know, I'm trying to teach my children right now to move back to the downtown area, because that is the rich land, you know, and I want my people to come back there. And now on Broad Street, y'all, they building it up and everywhere, everything we can get, but the people are moving and selling their houses and going all the way to Mississippi. Now, you know, it's time for y'all to stop. Like Chester Middle School. Here you build a new school. The parents are moving their students from there because you hadn't come in and put anything in the music department. They need new instruments. I know the schools out in the county, you know, oh, they have everything. They have all that. And here I think they need a math teacher. Here we are some high school. Don't lump our children up. We are somebody. Yeah, I got one more minute. But in the name of Jesus, we're not going to stand for this. I know y'all think, you know, this is just, you know, she just talking. But, you know, when God said yeah, man said no, God said yeah, and can't nobody do nothing about it. And now, get our children out of Williamson High School, Sister Pete. Get them out of there. God letting you know it's going to be destruction. Some things finna happen. Build our school. And you know what? Y'all already know y'all had the design for the school. So now is the time to get them out right now. See, God always warned before destruction.
Thank you.
One of the greatest things that I know that man has is his intellect, his ability to learn, the brain, the mind, your thought, what comes into you. See, that's the greatest thing we have. I have an old dad. My dad is very old. But you know, he can remember things that happened 60 years ago. He's almost 100. But he can remember things that happened 60 years ago. So we do not need to be spending money on laptops and computers and all these things for our children. We need to be spending money on books. You see, whatever that child gets out of that book, that's what's going to determine how far that child can go. I see all of our African American children, they come home every evening, they don't have books. They have sheets of paper talking about they studied at school. That's a bunch of crap. When we were coming in the back doors, we had books. We're going to have to, we as a black community want to become a part of the panel that decides on what type of curriculum our children are going to have. Because if we know what type of curriculum our children are going to have, we can right there tell you if it's going to work for us or not. We need to be on those panels, in those meetings. It's books. It's not laptops. It's not iPads. It's books. That's what these children need, a right curriculum. We have a Becker curriculum. We have Alpha and Omega curriculum. I showed you all an interactive science that starts at kindergarten. It is one of the top science programs that students use in this country. I told y'all that's the type of science programs that we need. If we had that, our children probably would want to be scientists and study chemistry and understand the stars and everything that's going on. But our children don't have proper books. So we as a black community plan on being a part. Make sure Superintendent Peake and all this board, we want to be a part of where you decide on what type of curriculum our children are going to get, because what you put in is what you're going to get out. Secondly, I want to deal with this dress code. Now, I see the women coming over to George Hall. They have these leggings on, these butt shoes, them things about tall like this.
Hooker shoe.
Them little tops come right here. You're not going to come on our children looking like somebody getting ready to go to the floor show. You might not think our children mean nothing, but we think they mean something. When I went to school, everybody was dressed. Every teacher was professional. She didn't show her breasts. She didn't show her butt. She dressed right, where the children could look up to her or where the children could look up to him. Sister Pete, we will not continue to look at that crap with those women coming over there every day looking like that. They look bad.
Thank you, ma'am. That concludes the portion of the citizens' request portion of the board meeting. Ms. Peake, we have 29 items, unless you've added any. Did we add any between last time and this time?
Yes, I need to update you on the agenda. We added one G2. You approved a retirement incentive plan at the last board meeting. This is amended. It's an amendment that was requested to be made that the retirement incentive not be limited by people who have already participated in another retirement plan. So it takes that out. So that's one amendment, and that's G2 that was added. Also, I'd like to pull H1 on consent. That's on the rezoning of O'Rourke Elementary. I'm pulling that tonight, H1.
Okay.
Those are the changes.
Those are the only changes. Those are the two, yes.
Okay, fine. Then we'll begin then with G1, Ms. Peak.
Action item G1, that is an amendment to, or not an amendment, we ask that you approve the revised policy on virtual school program, in that there are some changes that have been made to note that it's a program, not a school, and that it's for grades 9 through 12. And it also talks about the students will be part of their zone schools, and they will graduate from their zone schools. We'd ask that you approve G1.
So, Mr. President,
Yes.
as much as we have vetted all of these items in our work session, I'd like to offer a motion that we approve items 1 through 15.
So moved. Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly seconded that we approve items 1 through 15.
Let me ask just one question on item 1.
Okay.
So then the principal of the school in which the students is leaving from and enrolled in the virtual school program, they don't have the option anymore. But the kids will finish up their work and can march at their school.
Right.
Which they can't.
They will graduate with their zone school.
It's own school, okay,
Yes.
all right.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded for items 1 through 15. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ms. Peak, number 16.
Action
G6.
item G16 is a contract that we'd ask you to approve with Apple Incorporated. This is flow-through money, Title II funds. McGill Tulin is requesting to use $9,000 of Title II funds to provide professional development that supports instruction with the use of technology by Apple Incorporated.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
move for approval, action items G16 through 29.
Been moved and properly seconded for items 16, G16 through G29. Is there any further discussion of any of those items? There being no discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ms. Peak, consent?
Yes, the consent items, H2, this is, again, flow-through money for Faith Academy to use Title II funds to provide STEM professional development for 2 days for 8 teachers. It's a contract with Z-Space. We'd ask that you approve that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
offer motion to approve action item H2 through H7.
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded to approve H2 through H7. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ms. Peak?
Action items I, we'd ask that you approve students' expulsions as listed under separate cover 1 through 9.
Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chairman, move for approval, I1 through 9.
A second with question.
Okay.
Miss-
It's been moved and seconded with a question. Go ahead, Dr. Crenshaw.
Our lawsuit with the Southern Poverty Law Center, I assume that's who it was. Are we still under those mandates?
No, that was settled and the 3-year term was completed, and so that was all ended. We made all the reports to them on that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? It's been moved and seconded for items 1 through 9 under student expulsions. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Let me add there too, Dr. Crenshaw, on that settlement with Southern Poverty Law Center. We worked very closely with them for 3 years. They took a lot of the information we have and have used it as a model program. So we were very pleased with the outcome of that and saw a great reduction in our suspensions and expulsions over that period of time.
How much a reduction have you seen?
I don't have it in front of me right now, but we can get that. We can put it in Friday report. We can put a graph in there for you.
If you could do that and do it by race, I appreciate that.
Okay, be glad to.
Yeah, I think it was interesting that, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that we put the magnet schools discipline policy in line with the whole system discipline policy. Did we
Yes.
not change it? Because I thought that was really, out of whack, that several schools would have a separate discipline problem, a discipline policy than the.
Everything's covered by, our policy that we have in place for the school system,
Yeah.
all aligned.
Because the idea of a child being suspended for demerits, 4 or 5 weeks into and when school is almost out, I think was just a bad situation. I'm glad we changed it.
We worked through a lot of that, we did.
Yeah, okay.
Information items, J, we present to you the monthly financial statement in J1 and purchase orders of $5,000 and over that we present to you each month.
Okay, any item discussion? Any old business? Any board superintendent requests, beginning with Mr. Harwell?
Yes, sir. Dr. Foster and Ms. Peak, I know a lot of everybody in our community, especially my community, has concern about what's going on in our schools around the country with the shootings and stuff. And I don't know if y'all got a copy of the article from the Washington Post this past weekend where they went back and looked since 1999 to 2018. There's an average of 10 school shootings a year. And 18, we already had 3. And so I would ask, go a little bit further in discussion with some of our county commission, our sheriff's department, Mr. Gatewood, and some of our leaders in our city. I want us to put a committee together to look at the safety programs we have in our school and what we can do to keep our schools safe. One of the things that we're looking at, we want to look at is our resource officers. We have some very qualified resource officers, been doing a great job over years, but my community has spoke to me and looking at maybe this board looking with this committee at putting arms back on our resource officers. But I would like, again, for Ms. Peak to help us put a committee together with our city leaders.
Okay, are you indicating that you think we should put together a board committee?
Yes, sir.
Who-
And in all that, we'd like to join with our, the county commission, the city of Mobile, city of Central Natalie, our mayor's here, Sims, all our communities, and just have a roundtable discussion about what's going on and what we can do. And again, I'd just like to say, I have talked to Mr. Gatewood, and he's talked to our resource officers. We have some very qualified people that protect our kids, and it's something I think they would like for us to really look at.
That would be a committee with the city, all the municipalities that are listed. I'll work with Mr. Gatewood and we'll get a concept together. Mr. Threadgill and I can look at that and work with Mr. Gatewood on that, and we'll bring a committee suggestion and plan and schedule back to you.
Is that to include the entire board as part of that committee?
If that's the case, Ms. Peak, or if we come forward with it, it'll have to be, we'll have to announce it if it's 3 or more members of the board,
Right.
because, and I have no problem with that, but that's something that we can do.
Right, and I think what we'll do tomorrow, Mr. Threadgill, Mr. Gatewood and I sit down and look at that, Mr. Mixon, and we'll come back with a recommendation to
And
you.
we could do it probably very similar to the way in which we do the facilities thing, because all of the members on the board are invited to all the facilities,
Right.
Committee meetings and so forth, and we could do it that way, and then that way it would be an opportunity for each of the board members who wanted to come to.
Yes, and I think we need to be real careful that we get all the municipalities, give them all an
Right.
opportunity to participate, because I think there are about 6 different municipalities we serve. So we certainly want to do that. We value the relationship we have with all municipalities and all of the police jurisdictions. So we'll do that. We'll come back with a plan and bring it to you, and then move from that point.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
I think
yes.
to be included in that discussion, and we need to get our CFO to bring back the cost of having resource officers in every school. And I know we got 84, but to have 8 or 9 resource officers armed, I don't think it's going to address what we're trying to resolve, in my opinion. So we need to look at the cost, and I know it may be costly, but we need to look at the cost of having resource officers in every school.
And you know, Ms. Speaker, I have some concerns about the resource officers being armed, because these are some very dangerous times, man. We got some overpowering kids who don't care nothing about, they don't care nothing about the police. What they care about a resource officer? So those are some of the issues that we would like to discuss. That's why whatever committee that's being involved, whatever you do with the board selection, I would like to be a part of that committee.
Oh, yes.
Especially because of the disproportionate number of the students in my community, in my district, who are being impacted by the criminal justice system.
I think that, as I said, we'll get a real representative group to come together and do that and look at that. And, you know, I'm sure there'll be some real debates about this. Along with resource officers in every school with 88 campuses, you're right, Dr. Crenshaw. One of the things I have seen, though, that some counties are coming up with and some municipalities are some cost-sharing measures with that, where, you know, it's between the local government and the school system to do it. So I think there are a lot of things, there's a lot of information that can be pulled by what is what is being done. Now, one thing I want to stress, too, that I think is critical in all of this is that we continue to be ever vigilant. Our students and our staff, that's one thing, the mantra in Mobile County Public School System, and notify somebody. You see something, you say something, whether it's on social media, whether it's in a school, on a bus, or whatever. And so we want to continue to do that as we look for other solutions. Also, the ALICE training that you've just approved, I think, is going to be another layer that we look at for making sure we're ready and all employees are trained for what we need to do. But I think, I'm sure there'll be a lot of different opinions and a lot of ideas to explore on this, and I think that it's very timely to do that. So we'll get together, come up with a plan, and come back to you with a plan and a schedule for some meetings.
Ms. Peak, I just want to add one extra thing. I'm sure you're going to do this, but I would like to make sure that our district attorney, Ms. Rich, get an invitation. And also, I had a conversation with the chief of police, Mr. Batiste, and I'm sure he needs to be part of that conversation also. And then kind of a sidebar to Dr. Crenshaw, if it turns out that, and I kind of agree with him, having 84 is probably going to be a big number like that, even though we would like to do that. But there might be some way that we can at least increase the numbers if we can find some way to do it. I don't know if Dr. Crenshaw would agree with that or not, but at least some way that we can expand the numbers of resource officers that we have that will reduce their time that they get to schools and where they're based and stuff like that. So I'm in agreement with that.
Okay,
Ms.
thank
Peak,
you.
one other comment. Ms. Peak, I had spoken to you earlier about the importance of the PTA or the PTO being in all the schools. I think it is of great significance that the parents too should have a participatory role in whatever we do in this regard, but more importantly though, a lot of parents, a lot of schools that I've had some issues with you about on the PTA kind of lock out the parents from being a conduit for trying to communicate some of those same messages that we're trying to communicate with the resource officer and about compliance with rules and regulations as it relate to the Mobile County Public School System. So I thank you on that issue there.
Okay, thank you, and Ms. Peak, we're looking forward to hearing back from you with, I'm sorry.
Can I finish just one other thing?
Sure.
I want to make sure I added to that. One of the things we had some conversation about is discussion of mental health. Ms. Peak, and maybe whoever we add to this committee, that we talk about that with our students, and also the reporting of student whereabouts or their activity I know Ms. Peak, and we talked a little bit about that, if we have a student goes to homeschool, and the principals know more about this than I do, but we track them pretty good, and if they do enter a mental health facility, we know about that, but if they decide not to re-enter our school system, Dr. Foster, it's been an issue with the sheriff's department. And so what we like to do as part of this committee is to bring something forward to our representatives so that the children that are not in our classes will become a public school, that we find a way to keep up with them. So one of the things in this article, if you read it, that talks about that, it's a problem with students that move from school or area to area where they might move, and it's hard for law enforcement to keep track of them. And so one of the things, I talked to Jack Williams and some of them other ones, but maybe out of this committee, we can put something together for a bill for the state representatives to look at that and help us as a school system.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Harwell. Mr. Attorney-client privilege.
Yes, sir. I sent 2 emails to the board members regarding proposed suspension agreements. One of them was on Tuesday, the 20th, and one of them was Friday, the 23rd. I'd like y'all to consider.
Mr. Chairman,
Do I hear a motion with regard to the attorney's recommendation or the attorney's information that he sent us regarding the negotiated settlements on that?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to offer a motion that we concur with the recommendation of the attorney per the matters in the email forward to each of us.
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded that we concur with the attorney's recommendations. Is there any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, Ms. Peak, meetings.
I know y'all finna eat, but this contains all our children, and the public should be invited. We got to know what's our children.
You talking about to the panel for the
What you
discussion?
fixing to do, you finna bring in destruction. Don't do that, and these are our children that it's gonna tackle. And you talking about mental illness, it's some children that's not not mental ill. Y'all got a problem right here. Now, y'all better pray over that now before you start bringing in this.
Okay, Ms. Peak, any meetings that then, we will publish the, anytime that we have a meeting that involves any of the board members, it has to be a public.
Yes, we publish it all,
notice
and we
on
will.
all of
There'll
them.
be a
So-
public notice. I think, as I said, the first step is for us to, Mr. Threadgill and myself and Mr. Gatewood, Mr. Mixon, and some other staff members to get the idea together of how to reach out to all the people who need to be involved. So we'll be very cognizant of that and do it. And anything that we have will be published. The meeting will be published, so it'll be open.
Ms. Peak, scheduling of meetings,
No special, just the regular board work session and regular scheduled board meeting for the month of April.
Ms. Tack, I see that we had, we previously had one scheduled, a hearing scheduled for Wednesday of this week.
Still set, although we did have a little bit of movement this afternoon, it could evolve, right now it's still set.
Okay, and that's for 9.
9 o'clock, it should be a long, there's, no, I'll say that.
That's, you know, I hate to hear you say it's
Don't-
going to be a
don't-
long one because.
Don't jinx us. Don't jinx us.
All right. Do I hear a motion?
So moved, with motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded that we adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
This meeting's adjourned.